All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a massive, absolutely vital part of Canada's economy that, in some really critical ways, is basically operating in the dark. It's a huge blind spot, and today we're going to shine a big, bright light on it. So, just to give you a sense of the scale here, get your head around this number $150 billion. That is what Canada's agri-food sector pumps into our GDP every single year. It's behind 1 in every 9 jobs in the entire country. I mean, this thing is an absolute economic powerhouse.
And that brings us to the big question, the central paradox of this whole story. For an industry this important, you would think, you would demand that every decision is backed by solid data, right? By cold hard evidence. But what if I told you that a key system, one designed specifically to make farming more efficient and profitable, hasn't been properly measured economically in over 2 decades?
To solve this mystery, we need to understand a system that's right at the heart of agricultural innovation. It's called Extension and Advisory Services, or EAS for short. So what exactly is EAS? Well, think of it as the bridge between the research lab and the farmer's field. These are the systems that get the latest information, the best ideas, and cutting-edge knowledge into the hands of the people who can actually use it. And I love this little detail from the source material. The Dutch term for it actually translates to lighting the path. And that's just perfect, right? It's all about guiding farmers toward better results. And don't for a second think this is some old, dusty concept. No way. This field has evolved like crazy. It started with what you could call Extension 1.0, classic, public, face-to-face advice. Then came 2.0, where private advisors jumped in and the focus shifted to return on investment. 3.0 was the digital revolution, online networks, knowledge sharing. And now we're heading into 4.0, where AI and big data are starting to drive the whole thing. This is seriously cutting-edge stuff. Which, of course, brings us back home to Canada. With all this incredible evolution happening globally, how has our system held up? Well, that's where the story gets a little complicated.
You can really see the turning point in the public investment. Back in 1981, Canada had almost 1,000 federal agricultural advisory professionals, 978 to be exact. Just 10 years later, that number had plummeted to 380. This huge pivot away from public support really set the stage for the kind of system we're dealing with today.
So where does that leave us now? Well, the words used to describe Canada's EAS today are things like fragmented and disconnected. Getting access to these services can completely depend on where you live or what kind of farm you run. On top of that, we're seeing fewer academic programs to train the next generation of advisors, all of it stemming from that drop in public support. And all of that leads to what is honestly the most shocking fact in this whole thing. For the last 20 years, let that sink in, 2 decades, there have been zero, and I mean zero, peer-reviewed studies in Canada that measure the farm-level economic impact of these services. We have this whole complex system, but we haven't actually been checking to see if it makes farms more money. It is a complete and total black box. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Is this normal? Are other countries also flying blind like this? The answer is a huge, resounding no. Let's take a look at what the rest of the world has found. Globally, the data is just crystal clear. Study after study finds that farmers who use these advisory services see their profits jump anywhere from 5 to 40%. The most common gains land right in that sweet spot of 10 to 20%. That's real money.
And it's not just about profit, it's about getting smarter and more efficient. We're talking about an average increase in what's called technical efficiency of 7.6%. That means farmers are getting more out of the same resources. They're working smarter, not just harder.
And here's the real clincher. The return on public investment, it can be absolutely staggering. We're talking as high as $9 in output for every single dollar spent. The evidence is just overwhelming. So let's just put it side by side. The evidence scorecard. On one side, you have the global evidence, clear, quantified proof of profit gains, efficiency increases, incredible ROI. And on the other side, the Canadian evidence, unmeasured, unknown, unquantified. I mean, the contrast could not be more dramatic. Okay, so why does this actually matter? This isn't just some academic thing for researchers to worry about. This blind spot has real, tangible economic consequences for one of our country's most important industries. Flying blind is expensive. It means our policymakers are forced to make decisions based on assumptions, not actual evidence. It means that when it's time to fight for budget dollars, these vital services can't make a clear economic case for why they should exist.
We're missing huge opportunities to figure out what actually works best here in Canada. And frankly, it puts us at a strategic disadvantage against our global competitors who are using data to get better every single day.
As the source material puts it so well, this isn't just about a missing number on a spreadsheet. It's about a broken process. A healthy policy feedback loop is supposed to work like this. You invest in something, you measure its impact, and then you use that data to make it better. By not measuring, we've basically just ripped out a critical piece of that loop. We're just guessing.
But here's the good news. This problem is totally solvable. The path forward is actually pretty clear. Step 1, we just have to acknowledge the gap exists. Step 2, we need to start measuring, maybe with a few pilot programs. Step 3, let's build a national evidence base so our decisions are finally informed by real Canadian data. And finally, step 4, we need to get everyone talking and collaborating. And really, that's what this all boils down to. We are living in an age of big data, of analytics, where every other major industry is obsessed with measuring performance and optimizing results. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, can a $150 billion sector of our economy really afford to be the one exception? Can it afford to rely on a blank page?